Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Rigo Villa. I'm one of the community managers on the Cisco Learning Network, and I'll be your host today. In this session, we will be covering what's new in Catalyst SD-WAN 20.13 and iOS XE 17.13 with our two speakers and presenters, Praveen Anand and Peter Utador. But before we get started, I wanted to share a couple of quick housekeeping notes. First, if we have any questions during the session, we ask that you please post them in the question and answer panel, as that would help our panelists manage and keep track of all of your questions and would also allow them to provide you with a much more timely response. Also, if you experience any audio streaming issues during the live presentation, I do recommend using the call and telephone number that I'm going to be posting in the chat window here in just a moment. And at the end of this webinar, you're going to get a pop-up survey with a couple of questions about today's presentation. And we would really appreciate it if you can just take a moment to fill it out and share with us any thoughts or feedback that you may have about today's session. And last but not least, I want to let our attendees know that this session will be recorded and will be available on demand. And I'm going to be sharing some more information about that in the chat window a little bit later on. And without any further delay, I am now going to turn it over to our first speaker to get us started. So Praveen, if you're ready, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Rigo, and welcome everybody for today's session. So we'll learn about what's new in the Catalyst SD-WAN 20.13 or 17.13 version. So let's begin. So today, like Rigo mentioned, I'll be the presenting. I'll do the presenting role, and later Peter will come in and do the demo of for whatever we discussed about the 20.13 version. So today, as so today we will see what is new in the Catalyst, Catalyst SD-WAN 20.13, and we'll try to understand what value is there or what value you will get in when you upgrade to the Catalyst SD-WAN 20.13 or 17.13. We'll also learn the process to configure the features and validate that it's operational. And finally, we'll get some guidance about the resources and the first step to begin your journey. So we have a big agenda today. We'll start with there will be main four topics we are going to discuss today. We will start with the UX 2.0 first, and then we will take a look into some of the enhancements on the infra and the service side. From there, we will be diving deeper into the operational and multi-tenant enhancements which are available in 20.13. And after which, we will look into the cloud networking, new features. And finally, we have Peter coming in to demonstrate whatever we discussed on 20.13 in the Manager UI. So we have a lot of ground to cover. So let's go ahead and dig dive. Let's have some glance of the features that we will be discussing in today's webinar. Like you see some of the enhancements under UX 2.0, right? Which are mainly the magnetic design and the feature passes. So similarly, we have some enhancements under the infrastructure services, like enhanced application aware routing, enhanced ICMP tracker, and enablement of port channel on the transport VPN. And we have IPv6 troubleshooting support in the manager now. And finally, we have the service insertion 2.2. And on the operational side, we have the TLS 1.3 support now and the NWPI and ICE integration. Next, we'll talk about the multi-tenant support for single instance and multi-tenant to single instance migration. And finally, we will talk about the SD-WAN manager to push the third-party certificate. And talking about the cloud networking, we will talk about some features which are there from the AWS Cloud WAN integration using dynamic routing. And finally, we'll talk about cloud on-ramp SaaS enhancement, which are available in 20.13. So let's start with the UX 2.0 enhancement. So the first feature is the UX 2.2 magnetic design. Since our 20.6 SD-WAN release, we have seen a lot of different changes in the UI and UX design, right, in the manager. So, for example, the look and feel of the overall has been changed, and now we are moving towards the profile and of the feature parcel from the device configuration instead of using the device feature and the templates which are which was device agnostic as well. However, there are still some gaps and has room for improvement, right? Which has been taken care with the within the overall UI and UX design, and in terms of configuration groups as well. So in this release 20.13, we have introduced the brand new UI and UX design, and as you can see in the slide here, so the button one if below or equal to 20.12 release, and now we have moved it to the magnetic design, which is the unique system across various networking and the security products. Um, we can you can find more details on the magnetic.cisco.com, and of course we will have the demo on the end of the session wherein Peter will demonstrate the same. Moving on, we have the UX 2.0 configuration, which is mainly talking about the feature parcel, UX and the UI enhancement. So as we discussed in the previous slide, to simplify the configuration approach, we have moved towards the configuration group, which is actually using the feature profiles and parcels, right? And this was introduced in 20.9. So in this section of UI and UX, there was also some room for improvement based on several feedback that we received from the field as well as directly from the customer. So with 20.13, we have made some enhancement to the the feature parcel UI as well. So you can see in the diagram here, some of the enhancements you can see are in the scrollable tab. The inline tab have been implemented, where you can see now also also we can enter the device specific values and the text box resizing as well. Um, so not all feature parcels have been enhanced yet in this release. Since this is actually a journey, right? So pending, so the remaining feature parcels will be enhanced in the further releases. So this was about the configuration enhancement of the feature parcel. So let's move on to the infrastructure and the services. So the newer AWS EC2 instance support on the Cat 8 KVs have been popular asks from the customer as a new instance families and sizes are deployed. So the newer instance compute type can help us optimize performance and increase the bandwidth for the overall workload of the 8Ks in the cloud. Um, so in this first feature from the infra and the service side that we have for the Cat KV, we have support for all these new instance sizes which are listed in the slide here. And then these are easily scalable to the process of 3.5 gigahertz, and this is also network optimized. So next we have the restrict option of the third preference color in the application aware routing and the data policies. So in the previous releases, like in the 20.9, the preferred color group list were introduced to support three levels of priorities of the color in the preference in the application aware routing and data policies, right? So what it actually does is if the primary color fails, then the traffic would be shifted to the secondary color, and if the secondary color also fades, then it would get shifted to the tertiary color. But if at all the tertiary color also fail, then the traffic would get load balanced between all the available colors, which is not defined under the color group, right? So this was actually not desired outcome for some of our customers and users, which the feedback which we have got, where they wanted to have a color restrict option on the tertiary ring. So in order to drop the traffic, if all the colors in the preferred color leaks have failed, we have from 20.13, the color restrict option has been added for both the application via routing and data policies. Hence the traffic will be dropped in case there is no transport, which is in the preferred color group which are available. Next, we'll talk about the enhancements in the ICMP direct internet access NAT tracker for the faster failover. So as of today, we already have the support for DIA NAT tracker feature, right? And and it uses HTTP probes to track the endpoint reachability as well, not the ICMP based probes. So the HTTP probes are certainly a very reliable, but reliable tracker, but the response time for the failover is comparatively higher. So this was leading to delays in failing over to the available paths. And some of our users and customer came up with these saying that the delay was not acceptable, and a certain critical traffic gets impacted due to this delay in the convergence from the failed path to the available path. So starting from 20.13, we do support DIA NAT tracker, which uses the ICMP based probes to track the endpoint reachability. And using this, the failover time is less than 5 seconds. And again, this can be achieved, and this can also be configurable further in the UI. So both single endpointing tracker and dual endpointing tracker are supported, and this feature is supported on both physical interface as well as your logical interface, like your sub interface or even your dialer interface as well. And this is only for IPv4, which dialer interface. So overall, this feature supports both IPv6 and IPv4 endpoint trackers. And if you're going to configure this feature, this can be done via your add-on CLI-based templates. Currently, this feature cannot be done using your feature templates. Um, Next, talk about the port channel on the transport VPN. So as of today, the port channel was only available on the LAN side, which is the service side. But starting from 20.13, we have now support for port channels on the transport side VPNs as well. And I would like to emphasize a very important note on this feature now. So this feature has a little bit of limitation, which is when it comes to this particular release, which is the 20.13. So only a few features are supported right now with the port channel on transport side VPN. So it will, if you would like to have test this feature, go ahead and we can test it. But not all features of the port channel are still not available in this particular release. So the general availability of this particular feature is expected in 20.14, which is the next release. So that's the important point which I wanted to highlight here. And also, one more important feature is this feature is only supported with a very few hardware right now, like the CAT 8300, 8500, ASR 1001, and 1002 HX, and ISR 4461. So only these platforms are supported right now, and in the further releases, most of the platform will be available. Next feature we have is V6 troubleshoot in SD-WAN Manager UI. So there were several enterprise and customers which are having a mandate to use IPv6 addresses only in their network, right? And our current SD-WAN Manager and the SD-WAN solution has compatibility or in the capability to use the IPv6 implementation, but our manager doesn't support the IPv6 troubleshooting natively, right? Like we have it for our IPv4. So basically, you are not able to do your ping, trace route, packet capture, or even you can't even simulate the flows from your manager UI in your previous versions, right? So 20.13 introduces all these features. Like we can go ahead and do a performance ping, trace route, packet capture, and simulate flow troubleshooting tools for all your IPv6 addresses, as well as this can be directly done from your SD-WAN UI. Packet capture on loopback interface is still not supported, and you won't be able to initiate the IPv6 ping or trace route from your local IPv6 addresses. Next feature we have is service insertion 2.0. Currently, we do support service chaining and service insertion with our SD-WAN solution. which becomes very complicated to manage when we have to add more and more services to the network, and due to this, more and more policies definition also is required to actually have a good control over this traffic, right? So in order to cater this customer needs and move away from the complexity, a total revamp was done in 20.13. So we have launched the service in the service insertion 2.0, um, that has the automated and on-demand service insertion and service chaining capabilities. So with this feature, you are you will be able to do both on your physical as well as your virtual services that can be either your Cisco made, or it also supports a third-party services as well. So this feature will provide high flexible traffic steering through the service chain in the service chain policy mechanism. Let's now move on to the operation and multi-tenant section. Here we're going to talk about some of the improvements and network programmability and the API support, which is there. First thing is we'll discuss about the operation side, which is your network-wide path insight and your ICE integration. NWPI or network-wide path in the insight is obviously a very good tool that we have, and this actually provides your network-wide insights and summary, which are path insight overview of application performance insight, and your QoS insights as well. It also provides insights to validate policy design and insights into your various application performance issues, which actually assist in troubleshooting issue very quickly. But all this all in all of this model are there. Currently, it does not have an insight into user specific users, right? Specifically, which is a key ask from many of the customers in the field. So with 20.13, we have integrated ICE with the SD-WAN Manager, and we can now enable NWPI trace from users and also enable user identity as NWPI grouping field as well. Hence, with this enhancement, we can now provide new options wherein the user filter is there, and using this specific user, um, we can view the insight summary, application performance insight, even the event insights, and even your flow details. So all these things can be now viewed with help of your ICE integrated with the manager. Next, we have our TLS 1.3 support with your app QoE and SSL proxy. So the app QoE in SD-WAN provides a fully secure and transparent SSL traffic optimization capability, right? And this job of SSL proxy is to intercept the traffic and to optimize and give us the support for various CA deployment options, right? And currently, transport layer security version which is used is TLS 1.2, and we have already upgraded this to the TLS version 1.3, and this was not supported in SD-WAN as of for today. So uh, TLS 1.3 has its own benefits, right? So like it gives us a much simpler and faster, more secure version than your TLS 1.3 1.2, right? So now with 20.13, you will have the TLS 1.3 support with app QoE, app QoE SSL proxy, and TLS 1.3 is the latest version of the internet's most deployed security protocol that provides you a better encryption model and a more secure communication channel between two endpoints. And there are no configuration changes required for using the newer version of the TLS, which is your TLS 1.3. Next feature we have is a multi-tenant feature, and the multi-tenant support with the single instance. So one of the major problem faced in the multi-tenant deployment is seen, which is actually seen in a small, medium, or large deployment. Um and all the MSP vendor just got one. So if at all uh, if at all a MSP vendor has only one or two customers, and these MSP vendor wants to start really small with a lesser server structure, and later have a plan to gradually increase the servers as as the install base grows in the future. So for this vendor, we have an option to provide lesser number of servers as part of the SD-WAN solution, specifically in the multi-tenant mode. So this was not supported as of today, and also this was actually not part of any sales deals as well. So in order to overcome that, now our service providers can run with a single server deployment to support multiple tenants using a single SD-WAN manager in a multi-tenant mode with 20.13 20.13 version. And and one of these tenants can still share a single SD-WAN validator and controller as part of the single instant deployment. So this would actually help in saving a lot of capex and opex budget with using only a single node multi-tenant that would support more almost equal to 24 tenants and 1,000 devices. So next enhancement we have is under the multi-tenant section again, and we have multi-tenants to single instant migration. So there were a lot of requirement and instance where tenants or customers are part of a multi-tenant environment, and they actually need to move from the multi-tenant to a single or non-shared environment. So this was actually not supported as part of today due to various reasons, such as they would like to move to a single tenant because a new corporate policy change occurred, and that would require them to comply such policy change easily, right? So they may require additional storage for a deep packet inspection data, or maybe the enterprise customer might need to come out of the shared model and move to a single tenant mode. Uh, which is hosted by your Cisco cloud or managed by your Cisco team separately. So as part of 20.13, this enhancement for multi-tenant to single-tenant migration is now supported, and we are using one of the post API calls for this. So this feature supports the migration of tenants from a multi-tenant overlay to a single-tenant deployment. And to migrate a tenant between two Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN deployment, they have to move the tenant configuration, the the statistical data, and the managed devices from one deployment to another using this particular API call. Next, we have the SD-WAN Manager to push the third-party certificates. So various MSPs in Japan market primarily use MAP-E feature. So this feature is actually used to connect over IPv4 to IPv6, and this feature actually requires a third-party certificate from the MSP to be installed into each and every edge devices in the SD-WAN fabric. So through the SD-WAN manager, this was not supported as of now. But with 20.13, this feature allows the SD-WAN manager to provide this particular mechanism, and and this will allow the customer and the partner to upload the third-party CS certificate into the system, and using the manager, we can later go out and push the certificates to all the SD-WAN edges and the overall fabric as well. So that is now supported in the manager. So we are now on the last topic before the demo, and this is the discussion on cloud network enhancements. So here we have AWS WAN integration using the dynamic routing, which is your S2S instance. So currently, the SD-WAN integration with the AWS Transit Gateway offers a very robust solution for cloud integration. If at all, there were very few regions which are configured. And when you go and include more and more regions in order to scale up without any complications, a better integration. So a better integration is released was released in 20.12, which was your cloud WAN integration. But SD-WAN integration with cloud WAN uses a static route for the site-to-site, site-to-site use case, which adds additional effort or burden to allow the newer routes to be added manually every time whenever a new destination or a new workload will be introduced into the network. So to mitigate this issue in 20.13, through the cloud on-ramp automation, we have integrated the SD-WAN with the AWS Cloud WAN. Instead of using a static route, we are now using a PGP as a route, the routing protocol between your site-to-site use case. Also, the new no, also we have a new capability that has been introduced with this release, which is called as your tunnel-less contact or TLC, which will be used for site-to-site use case integration whenever we have the SD-WAN with the AWS cloud. So by doing this, this actually gives us a improved performance on all your Cat 8 kV routers, as there will be very small packet header and very less overhead process for this particular router on the cloud. So this was the enhancement for the AWS integration. Next, we have the cloud on ramp feature for SaaS. So previously on cloud, the cloud on ramp feature for SaaS, this was not supported in the deployment, wherein the loopback or the dialer lock interface are used in the transport VPN, which is your VPN 0. And this is the and this is one of the pain point which the customer has been given to us as a feedback. Also, we have also we use a DIA as a path, and when a DIA interface failed, it takes few minutes to detect the failure on the SD-WAN edge router, and that needs to be optimized for a faster convergence. So that your SaaS traffic can be can move to a better path from your worst part as soon as possible. Also, the cloud on ramp for SaaS get triggered for all your RFC 1918, and which is your private addresses as well, which is a standard N-bar app. For this, there was a requirement like some kind of filtering for these kind of prefixes was needed. So with 20.13 release, there are three problems which are resolved. Now you can use or configure cloud on ramp for SaaS on your loopback or dialer based TLOC interfaces. And when it comes to the DIA part, the DIA tracker can now be associated on the DIA interface for a faster failover for your cloud on ramp SaaS path. And also you are allowed to exclude the prefixes using the prefix list for your cloud on ramp for SaaS. So all these features have been mitigated in the 20.13 releases. Um, and yeah, that was about the feature overview. Let me go ahead and call Peter now to give us a demo on whatever we have discussed till now. Over to you, Peter.
Thank you, Praveen. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so thank you once again, everyone, for joining. So this is the new vManage dashboard. As we can see, like what my colleague mentioned earlier, we now have a new view to the look of the vManage, the Catalyst SD-WAN Manager. So this is the dashboard. We can see that you have more like monitoring information. For example, if you see for site health here, you can see the site numbers of the site that are poor performing. you can scroll down, you can click on the drop down here to actually select between good performing sites, or you can also have fair performing and all of that. So if, for example, if you click on this one, it's going to show you the sites that are actually performing well. So previously in SD-WAN, you don't have this. You just have maybe like the total numbers of sites and all of that. But here you are having the actual site information being shown to you on the overview page. And then that gives you a better information of, okay, you know that, okay, this particular site is working as expected. And then you cannot just also have the opportunity to actually choose between the time, the previous hours, and the rest. Now, another one here is the tunnel health. Now, when you look at the tunnel health, you can also select between the good tunnel, bad tunnels, and then you can see the tunnel itself, the tunnel endpoint, and all of that to actually see which of the tunnel is performing as expected. And then you can also scroll between poor tunnels and then the fair tunnels to just see the ones that are working well and the ones that are not. If you scroll up a bit, you see that we have to monitor all sites here, and that means you can actually filter between sites. You can choose which particular site you want to look at, because what we have here is for all of the sites cumulatively, but you have the option to actually filter per site. So for example, you can say, oh, I want to look at site 100, for example, and that gives you the information as regarding that particular site. So here you are now looking at a particular site here. So that's one beauty for this again. So this, you have all of the sites, you can view information. Scrolling down again, you can see here right below the site health, you have the 1H health, where you can actually see the CPU load. Now, in the previous versions, you have to actually maybe click on the device and go into the real-time section to check some of this. But here we have this already showing in the dashboard, in the overview, and then with that you can see the CPU load, the previous and the current CPU load for poor performing device, and then also you can see here you can select, and also it shows you the device itself. You can see DC, ACI on inside 5. So you are seeing both the device that is performing well and then the size that this particular device belongs. And then if you have any, maybe for example, you have the poor device, then you can also see the information about that particular device and then the site that the device is on. And then you also have the other information like the WAN edge management information, and then for application health. So that is for that. Then what I also like to show is the troubleshooting aspect for IP version 6, because in the previous versions we have only support for IP version 4 troubleshooting, but now you can now troubleshoot, or you can ping IP version 6 destination. So let's look at let's just take a look at one of them here so that we can see this in action. So let's say this device here, come here to troubleshooting and go to ping, and then we select the interface, VPN 0, and then the destination. So here we are not allowed to add the IP version 6 addresses, which is not possible initially. So with this, you can do a ping or to troubleshoot IP version 6 destinations. So that gives you information about IP version 6 and all of that. So whatever this, maybe you are trying to ping IP version 4. So you can see here, you have packet transmitted, 5 packets, and that just tells you that you can also use it to actually troubleshoot IP version 6. And that is not just for the ping alone. It is supported both for trace route. You can also use it for trace route. And then all of the troubleshooting features that you have here are also supported for IP version 6. Then also, Another feature I would like us to also look at is the restrict option for the tier preferred color. That is the color group. Now, if you come to your configuration and then you go to policies, now you have the preferred color group here, whereby you can actually specify the preferred color group name, the primary color, your secondary color, and the tertiary color. So these were features that you have available in 20.12 and all of that. So, but now you now have the option to actually restrict the application aware routing to only the preferred color group. And once there is no match, then it can just drop the packet. So I'm going to show you that now. So let me go back to the policy again. So add policy, and then next add the topology. Now under your application aware routing here, let's add an application aware routing information. So here you have sequence type, click on the sequence rule. So let's match here based on the application family. Let me see application aware routing here. And then in the action, and we choose the SLA class list here. Now here you can see that we have the SLA class. So after selecting the SLA class, you have two options here. It's either you choose the preferred color or the preferred color group, which is what you have configured in the list in the policy there. So once you select the preferred color group, which I've pre-created, now you can see that you have option of restrict to preferred color group here. So this option was previously not available. So what that means is only going to stick to the preferred color group, and then once it doesn't, the SLA doesn't match, then it's going to drop that package. It's not going to use the color that is not specified in the preferred color group here. So all you need to do is just check the restrict and then save the application aware router and activate that. So that's one of the options that you have there. Now let's look at the feature whereby you can now install third-party certificates that my colleague mentioned during the presentation. So to do that, you come to configurations and then you come to certificates here. Now when you click on certificates, you are going to see CA Sat here. Now under the CA Sat, once you click on the CA Sat, you have the option to actually add a certificate, which is not possible in previous versions. So you can only see these features, this particular CSAT upload in 20.13. So you click on add CA here, and then you have the option whereby you have to add the name of the certificate and then upload. Then also you can also drag and drop. Now we can see the accepted files. So we have the PEM encoded certificate. Those are the supported certificate type that is supported here, and then you can upload up to 10 megabyte size. So these are just some of the limitations there. So if you are going to be uploading more than that, so you have to ensure that the certificate size is between 1 to 10 megabytes. So that's what you can take. So once you upload, then you can save that here. And then to distribute it, you can go to the configuration group to do that. So you have your configuration group, and then come to, you have your feature profiles. Okay, let's say I have one existing one here. So I go to the configuration group. Sorry for the delay there. Okay, so I'll come here and then click on edit under configuration group. And then you can see the feature profiles that is already associated there. So under the system profile, this is where you are going to be distributing the certificate under the system profile. So when you click on this, then you can now add features. You go to the features here and then you select one of the features, so you can see certificates here. So this is where you are going to be adding the certificate, and then you put the name, the name and then description, and then you put the trust point name, the certificate name, the subject name, expiration date, but most importantly, the trust point name here. And then you can save that to be distributed under the configuration group. Aside from that, another feature I would like us to also consider is the network-wide path insight that is that has the eyes integration. Now, the one that has the for the eyes integration, so you need to have integrated eyes to your SD-WAN environment. You would have done that already before you can have access to this. Now, you now go to your tools and then come to your network-wide path insights here. Now, when you click on that, it's going to take you to the trace section whereby you can add information. So let's say you want to do a trace here. You just click on new trace. And then under the new trace, you see that you have various options here. For example, filter based on site ID. Then you have source address preface, destination preface, and some additional advanced filters. And now when you click on the advanced filters, you can see here you have options for eyes users. Then another area here, you also have under the grouping field here. If you click under the grouping field, you also have option to actually add your source security group tag and then the eyes user identity. So with this, that can actually capture and then do a trace and then show you information as regarding users and the application they are consuming. So that gives you visibility of what users are actually doing or what users are actually consuming in particular application. So you can actually get those information regarding that. So that's part of the enhancement that you have with the 20.13. Now, going away from that, let's now look at the port channel on the transport VPN. So now you can also do your port channel on your transport. So now for that particular feature, that one is not supported using your GUI. You actually do that using either CLI or you can use what we call the CLI add-on. Now to go into that, now if you come to configuration here, then you click on template. Now when you get to templates, you have your feature templates here. So you just click on add and then the device that you want to configure the feature on. So you click on that and then you select the template here. So if you scroll down here, you have the add-on template. So you can see the CLI add-on template. Now under the CLI add-on template, this is where you are going to be pasting or typing, as the case may be, the commands here, the CLI add-on template here. You type all those line command here. And after you are done typing it, then you can save it here to be associated to the device that you want. So it's much easier. So you don't need to do maybe SSH or anything. All you need to do is just to put it as an add-on template, and then that can be associated to the device. So I'm going to show you an example of the template. So I have one pre-created because of our time. So for the port channel transport, so you can see here, I have one here. So if I click on that, let me edit so we can see what the commands look like. So you can see here, you have the interface port channel, define the IP address, the routing protocol here. So, and then you have the interface now being associated to the port channel here. So you can see one in active mode and then the second interface here in the passive mode. And then this is the interface tunnel for the port channel. And then this is the command here to associate it. You can see the tunnel interface, the cancellation IPsec, and the color, which is LTE here. So once you are done with this, you can now associate. You can see also here I've given it a name so that I'll be able to identify that by the time I want to associate the device. Now this is for the CAT 8200 here. You can see it here. So let's now go to the device itself so we can associate it. So we come to device template, and now under device template we can see the device type. So this is the device here. So we have the DC here. So let's associate that to this, just to show you how to do this, to associate the CLI add-on template for that feature. And then you come to your additional template here. Now under additional template, if you scroll down a little bit, then you see where you have your CLI add-on template. So all you need to do is the CLI add-on template that you saved while under feature template. Then you come here and then select that. So you can see the one I created, which is the VPN 0 ETA channel. So just click on that, and then you update the device template, and that configuration will be pushed to that device for that particular feature. Now another one is for the other feature I would like us to also look at is the ICMP NWPI tracker. Now the same thing applies. So for the ICMP NWPI tracker, you also have the option of either the CLI or you use the CLI add-on for those features. So you can actually use the GUI, or the only options you have currently is using either CLI or CLI add-on. So I also already have that created here. So let me quickly go through that so you can see the feature template. So we have it, I have it somewhere here. So we can see the ICMP, I've created that already. Now to view that, so we can see here the configuration, the endpoint tracker, which is the name of the tracker here, and then the endpoint IP that you're tracking, the interval for the ping, and then you have the threshold, the multiplier, and then the tracker type, tin interface exit. Then you have another tracker. So here is more of like you are doing more than you are tracking more than one endpoint. So they call it group. So it's like a tracker group here. So you are now going to apply it to that interface. So you have another you now have the endpoint tracker group 1 here, and the tracker type, you have the tracker group name and then the boolean or. So you can see the two elements, which is tracker 1 and tracker 2, which is actually referencing this tracker here, is referencing this, and then this one. So this one is actually tracking a DNS endpoint. So you have several options of what you can track, not just based on IP. You can also track based on the DNS and other options like that. So, and then that particular track is now applied to this interface, and then the endpoint tracker group 1 is referenced under the interface to be activated there. And that's what that. So once you are done with that, you can go ahead to apply it to the device template, just as what we did with the port channel on transport interface. So that similar thing you can do. So here we have it on ISR 4000. So you can just go to the device there, and here we have it here. You can click on edit, and then you go to the additional template. Then you can see the CLI add-on here. So this is where you add it. So here we can see the ICMP NWPI tracker. We add that and then we upload, and that is going to be pushed to that device to activate the NWPI tracker to make failover more faster. So with that, I'm going to be handing over to my colleague to wrap up with us.
Thank you so much, Peter. That was one wonderful presentation. Let me go ahead and grab it all. Yeah. All right. So before I give it back to Rico, I just wanted to review a couple of key points which we spoke in today's webinar, right? So first thing is we have a single management platform for all our WAN use cases, which we saw. We have multiple enhancements which are coming in on 20.13. So all these enhancements are reducing the operational expenditure and OPEX and COPEX cost. So some supporting routing customers journey there. Some of the features are introduced for your multi-cloud SaaS as well, and we saw some multi-tenancy features which are introduced, and PLS 1.3 has been introduced. Service chaining 2.0 has been introduced. Port channel for VPN 0, and so the restrict option has been introduced for the tertiary links. So see, these are some of the features which has been introduced in 20.3 releases. And with that, I'll go ahead and hand over the presentation to Rigo for doing the live Q&A and additional resources. Over to you, Rigo.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Praveen and Peter. Really appreciate that excellent presentation and demonstration. So before I dive into some FAQs, I'd like to just take a moment to cover a few resources with you all. For your convenience, we do have a few helpful links that you can refer to at your convenience. We do have a few recommended guides, as well as a very active and helpful community that focuses on SD-WAN and cloud networking. So if you do have any related questions, we do encourage you to participate. And for your reference, I went ahead and posted the resources into the chat window there directly. So please feel free to save them or bookmark them and refer to them at any time or at your convenience as needed. And so I'm having a look at our FAQs here, and I do see that we do have one outstanding question. The question is, any improvements towards VSAT link support for control connection formation? And anybody who can answer the question, feel free to just unmute your mics and dive in if you could.
Hello?
Yes.
Audible?
Yep.
Okay, so I mean, we don't see any enhancement for the control connection with the VSAT link. I just wanted to understand like any specific question or any specific things that wanted to understand that I can highlight here.
Sure. So if for our attendee, if you could provide a little more context to the question, would be appreciated. And of course, if anybody else would like to chime in, please go ahead. But if not, don't see any other questions. So I think we can go ahead and wrap up our presentation for today. I just want to give you a very big thanks again to both Praveen and Peter for speaking and presenting this topic with our audience. I hope that everyone found great value in the information and resources that were shared here today. And for our attendees, if you do have any additional questions about today's topic, we do encourage you to participate in our online post-webinar discussion. You are going to be redirected there upon exit, but the link has also been posted into the chat window. So we do look forward to your participation and for any additional questions you may have. And a quick reminder that you will also receive a short pop-up survey as soon as you exit the webinar. And we would be so grateful if you can just take a few minutes to complete it and let us know how you like today's presentation. We always look forward to receiving your valuable feedback. And again, for those of you who may be interested in revisiting this session, we will have the live stream available immediately for on-demand viewing. And the link has been posted into the chat window for your reference. But just in case you missed it a little earlier, I'm going to go ahead and repost it again in just a moment. Once again, I just want to say thank to our presenters, to our panelists, and to all of our attendees for joining us here live. I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.